Are you looking for stories about resilience that inspire you? Do you enjoy it when justice finds its way, even if it's through the shortcuts of revenge? And do you love being caught off guard by the twists and turns of life? If the answer is yes, this is your channel. Unravel each story with us, a labyrinth of emotions that will keep you intrigued until the very last second. Be part of this community. Subscribe, click the bell to be notified, leave your appreciation with a like, and come. Because today's story holds emotions in store for you that you never imagined. The fine rain bent the rose bushes in the small garden, each drop a silent lament echoing in Helena's chest. Inside the house, the air carried the weight of illness, a damp and sticky veil that clouded her breathing and energy. Her eyes, once vibrant and full of passionate light, now reflected the pallor of fever and the growing shadow of anguish. Beside her, the empty half of the bed was a physical and piercing reminder of Caio's absence. He had promised to take care of her, sworn eternal love under the spring sun, but now, in the autumn of her health, the warmth of his words had proven as ephemeral as the breeze. The cold touch of the sheet where he used to lie was a cruel contrast to the fever that consumed her body and soul. Helena coughed, a weak and painful sound that was lost in the oppressive silence of the room. The physical pain was excruciating, but the pain of betrayal, the cold stab of abandonment in her moment of greatest vulnerability, was a slow poison that paralyzed her will to fight. She clung to the memories of happy times, shared laughter and plans for the future, as if they could warm her now, but each memory was like a shard of glass, further wounding her fragile soul. The rain-blurred window seemed like a distorted mirror of her own life, where the beauty of the past was fading, leaving only the cold reality of loneliness and illness. The days dragged on slowly and cruelly, marked by the monotony of pain and fever. Helena struggled to swallow the thin soup that her kind neighbor Donna Aurora brought her, an act of kindness that contrasted painfully with Caio's indifference. Each sip was an effort, each visit from Donna Aurora a pang of gratitude mixed with the bitterness of loneliness. She tried to read the book she loved, but the words danced before her teary eyes, forming no meaning, offering none of the comfort of the past. The messages she sent to Caio remained unanswered, each silent notification a stronger blow to her hope. He had become a ghost, a distant memory of a love that seemed to have existed only in her imagination. The fragility of her body was a reflection of the fragility of her dreams, shattered by the brutal reality of abandonment. Helena wondered what she had done wrong, where the love she believed to be unwavering had broken. Warm tears streamed down her pale face, mixing with the sweat of her fever, a salty river of pain and disillusionment. She felt like a wounded bird, fallen from the nest with no strength to fly, waiting in vain for the return of its mate. The night arrived heavy with shadows and whispers, amplifying the feeling of isolation. Helena curled up under the covers, searching in vain for Caio's absent warmth. The memories of his tight embraces and his passionate kisses were now mental tortures, accentuating the coldness of her present reality. With each passing moment, the certainty of abandonment solidified in her heart, replacing hope with a piercing pain. She replayed the happy moments in her mind, searching for a sign, a clue that all this could have been avoided, but found only the empty echo of her own illusions. The illness progressed, weakening her body, but it was the emotional wound that seemed deeper and incurable. Helena felt broken inside, like a crystal vase shattered into 1,000 pieces, not knowing if she would ever be able to put herself back together. The darkness of the room seemed to swallow her hope, leaving only the bitter realization that the man she loved had left her to wither alone amidst the fragility of her health. The silence of the night was deafening, punctuated only by her labored breathing and the painful beats of her broken heart. Despite the piercing pain and the feeling of prostration, a small spark of stubbornness began to glow within Helena. It was a weak flame, almost imperceptible under the weight of sadness. But it was there. With each visit from Donna Aurora, with each word of comfort and encouragement, this spark gained a breath of life. Helena perceived the neighbor's genuine concern, a stark contrast to Caio's coldness. This unexpected kindness was like a balm on her wound, reminding her that not all love was ephemeral and selfish. Slowly, with effort, she began to eat better, to get out of bed for a few minutes, leaning on the walls. Each small step was a victory, a silent declaration that she would not give in to illness and sadness. The memory of the abandonment still hurt, but anger began to mix with the pain, anger against the injustice, against the cruelty of the one who had sworn to love her. This anger, paradoxically, became a source of energy, fuel for her slow and painful recovery. Helena began to understand that her life could not be defined by Caio's absence, that her happiness did not depend on the love of someone who had not known how to value her. Weeks turned into months, and Helena's health, although still fragile, showed signs of constant improvement. She spent more time out of bed, venturing around the house, rediscovering the small pleasures that illness and sadness had obscured. Reading became a refuge again, music a solace. She received visits from other neighbors, people who cared about her, who offered her support and friendship without expecting anything in return. Caio's absence was still felt, a persistent void in her life, but it was no longer the black hole that consumed her. Helena began to rebuild her life, brick by brick, with the mortar of her own strength and the kindness of those around her. She allowed herself to feel sadness, but she did not drown in it. The memories of happy times with Caio began to lose their sharpness, replaced by a painful clarity about his true character. The heartbreak, although still present, was no longer the center of her existence. Helena was learning to love herself, to value her own company, to find joy in the small things of everyday life. One day, while leafing through an old photo album, Helena found a picture of Caio. For a moment, the old pain struck her forcefully, the vivid memory of lost love. But this time, the pain did not paralyze her. She looked at the photo with a serene, almost distant sadness, as if looking at the portrait of a stranger. At that moment, Helena realized how much she had changed. The fragile and dependent woman who had been abandoned no longer existed. In her place was a stronger, more resilient woman who had found the strength within herself to overcome pain and illness. She closed the album with a light sigh, a silent farewell to the past. The heartbreak had been a cruel ordeal, but it had also been the catalyst for a profound transformation. Helena had lost a love, but she had found herself. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but now she was certain that she was no longer alone. The strength she had discovered within herself was an anchor, a light that would guide her towards a future she would build herself, a future where self-love would be the foundation of all her relationships. Spring returned, tinging Helena's garden with vibrant colors and filling the air with the scent of flowers. She walked slowly among the rose bushes, now stronger and more vibrant, a reflection of her own recovery. Her steps were firm, her gaze determined. The illness was still a present memory, an invisible scar, but it no longer defined her. Helena had learned to live with her frailties, to respect the limits of her body, but also to celebrate every small victory. She had reconnected with old passions, returning to painting, to writing in her old diary, finding in art a way to express the complexity of her emotions. The vibrant colors that once seemed distant now filled her canvases. Her poems overflowed with a new sensitivity. a deeper understanding of life and love. Helena had discovered that solitude did not have to be synonymous with sadness, that one's own company could be enriching and strengthening. She allowed herself to enjoy moments of peace, the beauty of nature, the warmth of the sun on her skin, finding joy in the simple things that had previously gone unnoticed. Time continued to weave its tapestry, and Helena found herself increasingly involved in new activities. She began attending a support group for people with chronic illnesses, where she found other stories of overcoming and resilience. Sharing her experiences, listening to those of others, brought a new sense of community and belonging to her life. Helena realized that she was not alone in her journey, that pain and overcoming were universal human experiences. She also dedicated herself to volunteering at an animal shelter, finding in the care and affection for defenseless beings a new source of purpose. The unconditional loyalty of the animals was a balm for her wounded soul, a reminder that true love existed, even if not in the way she had idealized it. That shelter became her refuge, a place where she could offer and receive affection without fear of being abandoned or betrayed. With each rescued animal, with each look of gratitude, Helena felt her own strength renewed. One day, while caring for the dogs at the shelter, Helena ran into an old friend, Sophia, whom she hadn't seen in years. Sophia had moved to another city shortly after the end of her relationship with Caio, and the reunion was unexpected and full of emotion. Sophia was shocked to hear what Helena had gone through, the illness and the abandonment, and her indignation at Caio's attitude was palpable. The friendship between the two rekindled with surprising intensity, as if time and distance had never existed. Sophia became a fundamental support in Helena's life, offering attentive ears, words of encouragement, and moments of relaxation. Together, they reminisced about the old days, laughed at funny memories, and shared their dreams and plans for the future. Sophia's presence was a constant reminder that even after a great disappointment, life continued to offer new opportunities for connection and happiness. Helena realized that true family was not always the one with blood ties, but rather the one that cared, that offered unconditional support in difficult times. Over time, Helena not only recovered physically, but also blossomed emotionally. The scar of abandonment still existed, but it no longer hurt with the same intensity. She had transformed pain into strength, disappointment into learning. Helena became an advocate for people going through similar situations, sharing her story of overcoming in lectures and workshops. Her voice, once hesitant and insecure, now echoed with conviction and hope, inspiring others to find their own resilience. She had discovered a new purpose in her life, that of helping those who felt alone and helpless, showing them that it was possible to start over, that happiness did not depend on another person. Helena became a beacon of hope for many, living proof that pain can be a stepping stone to growth and transformation. Her journey, marked by loss and suffering, had become a story of triumph over adversity, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. One day, Helena received an unexpected message. It was from Caio. He said he was sick and alone, and that he deeply regretted abandoning her. He asked for her forgiveness and begged for her help. For a moment, a flicker of her old affection wavered in her heart. The memory of the good times, the promise of eternal love, briefly resurfaced. But soon, the memory of the pain, the loneliness, and the cruel abandonment spoke louder. Helena took a deep breath, feeling a surprising calm. She no longer felt anger, only a distant sadness and a firm conviction that her path and Caio's had separated forever. She replied to the message with kindness but firmness, wishing him a full recovery but making it clear that she could not go back to the past. Helena had forgiven Caio not for him, but for herself, so that she could move forward without the weight of resentment. Helena's life followed a new course, full of meaning and purpose. She had built a solid support network based on true friendships and her volunteer work. Her house, once a stage for sadness and loneliness, was now a welcoming home, full of life and joy. She had become an independent and strong woman who found happiness in her own achievements and in genuine connection with the people around her. Love for Helena had acquired a new meaning. It was no longer an emotional dependence, a desperate search for external validation, but rather a feeling of affection, respect, and admiration for the people who truly cared about her. She was open to new love, but did not seek it anxiously. She knew that when it arrived, it would be a love built on solid foundations, a love that valued her for who she was, with her strengths and her vulnerabilities. Helena had learned to love herself first, and this was the greatest lesson that disappointment and suffering had taught her. Years passed since Caio's abandonment. Helena had rebuilt her life with care and dedication. Her health was stable, her energy renewed. She continued her work supporting others, her voice resonating with authority and empathy. At one of these meetings, she met a man named Miguel. He was kind, attentive, and showed genuine admiration for Helena's strength and resilience. Miguel did not see her as a victim of the past, but as an inspiring woman who had overcome great challenges and found light in the darkness. At first, Helena remained cautious. The scars of the past still made her hesitate to open her heart again. But Miguel's patience and sincerity gradually won her trust. He did not pressure her, respected her time, and showed genuine affection. Over time, the relationship between Helena and Miguel deepened. He became a loyal and loving companion who valued her for who she was, with her stories, her scars, and her dreams. Miguel did not try to erase Helena's past, but helped her integrate it into her journey, showing her that her experiences had made her the strong and admirable woman he loved. Together, they built a relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and unconditional support. Helena discovered that it was possible to love again, that the disappointment of the past did not have to dictate her future. Miguel's love was different from the love she had felt for Caio. It was a mature, patient, and genuine love that made her feel safe and truly loved. Helena had turned things around, not only surviving abandonment and illness, but flourishing and finding a new love that valued her in her entirety. And so, Helena continued her life, a woman transformed by pain, but strengthened by self-love and genuine connection with others. Her story became a testament to resilience and hope, showing that even after the deepest disappointment, it is possible to rise again, find happiness, and love again. Caio's abandonment, which at first seemed like the end, had become the starting point for a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Helena had found the strength within herself to overcome adversity and build a full and meaningful life, proving that the true comeback happens when we learn to love ourselves and value our own journey, regardless of others.